What are some of the key differences you've observed in cannabis culture and consumption practices between Canada and Thailand?
Canada, Thailand just kind of opened it up in a whole way that I'm not going to say is better or not, but they started right away with your consumption spaces. You know, like my chocolate bars are in Medman in Thailand, and like what a space! It, like number one looks like a Mac store. Number two had an incredible flower selection, edibles selection, incredibly educated staff. But when you walked in and you say bought a gram, they give you a rolling tray with a grinder, with papers, and there are a bunch of different seating areas. There was a safe room that had video games and couches. You know, you had two different patio rooms, and they wanted you to stay, but they were also serving alcohol. So like in the fridge was like beers and edibles and and drinks and whatnot. So it was like I don't, especially in such a tourist kind of place, I'm not sure if that's the safest thing, because you've got tourists who may or may not be comfortable with cannabis, who are now putting it with alcohol and then possibly getting on a scooter to get themselves back to their hotel, right? So it's, I really appreciate the openness of what I saw. It was anything from people on street corners with card tables and weed in glass jars. And I think that's like one of my favorite things from the legacy days in Ontario was the fact that you could go into a shop, you can see the flower, like I'm not going to buy I guess if I was buying online, maybe, but like if I was going to buy a sweater, I'd like to see it. I'd like to touch it. I'd like to look at it, but not being able to see the cannabis, not being able to smell the cannabis, like my body tells me right away when I smell weed if I want it or not, like it's an absolute like yes or no for me. So, I love the Thailand places that allow for that. Now, there's some really great things going on. Like my friend Brian Lunt owns a place called the 𝘚𝘵 𝘏𝘪𝘨𝘩, which is the first licensed cannabis hotel. And they are like super, super into wellness. And they have like a naturopathic doctor that will talk about what you want. They have a lot of really heavy CBD products in there. And you have the option of having my chocolate bar on your pillow at the hotel. And that was just like, oh, it's the best thing ever. But I think that's how it should be. And, there is that discussion of like, is this product suited for you? And how is it going to make you feel? And, so they are able to have, they're doing like breath and bud workshops where you can do breathing, and it's, you can consume, and they offer you whatever you want to, and I just, I think that's a really beautiful thing. And Ontario is kind of like lacking that, so it's, it's sad that we can't really talk about the benefits of what cannabis does for you in Ontario. And it just puts us in a weird kind of place of like, I don't know, you can still have alcohol advertisements, right? And you can see people drinking and smoking, whatever. So it's terrible that cannabis can't have the same affiliation, with.
Yeah, and also the fact that we're 6 years at this point into legalization, we still don't have any like consumption lounges, I think is kind of a missed opportunity, because I'm sure a lot of people who come to visit places like Toronto or any other big city in Canada would love to be able to come and sit down and just buy enough weed to roll a joint and enjoy it.